Hello everyone, my name is Patrick Sheary. I'm Curator of Furnishings and Historic Interiors here at the DAR Museum. And I'm standing in one of the porches in this building called Memorial Continental Hall. Memorial Continental Hall is a marble-clad building built between 1904 and 1910. It was designed by Edward Pierce Casey for the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution as their headquarters. So we are currently in the process of a full interior and exterior restoration of the place, and to make it, to bring it back to its 1910 appearance. And you can imagine how basically dirty and filthy the exterior has become because of pollutants and all that over the years, and the interior needed a lot of restoration work as well. The marble you see here was taken from a quarry in Vermont. What we are going to be talking to you today is another material called stucco, and stucco was used in the ceilings of the porches, so we have to look up, and it was used to clad the ceilings of the porches and the porte cochere that we'll be visiting in the other parts of the building, which are all scaffolded up and waiting for us to take a look-see. So let's go. Hey everybody, well, we finally made it. Climbing over the stairs. Anyway, we finally made it here to almost the top of the scaffolding. And we are under what's called the porte cochere, which is another version of a porch. Porte cocheres are French for a porch that allows for vehicles or carriages to pass under, drop people off to allow them to get in. It's usually there normally at an entrance of some sort. And this would be the front of Memorial Continental Hall on the 17th Street side in downtown DC. Anyway, so what we are here to look at is the ceiling. We look up, and so it's very rare that you can actually see a ceiling from this close. The scaffolding here is a full cover scaffolding, which we sometimes call a dance floor, because that means you can walk through over the whole area without fearing that you're going to fall to your death down below. So anyway, so what we're looking at here today is the ceiling, and a little bit of and a little bit underneath the columns here. So these are the column capitals. They're in the Ionic style, and above the columns is this base of what's called the entablature, which goes from here, actually up further, and all the way down to here. And that encompasses a variety of different parts, which we're not going to get into today. However, this part from here, the base of the column capital, to here, this is called the lintel, the part that spans the two capitals. This is made out of marble. These are solid marble, and they actually support all the weight of the roof above. And so so that's what these are. But from this part here, maybe I can get out my handy and yet so dandy thing. So from this part here, all the way up and all the way across the whole rest of the ceiling, this is often called the cornice in architectural parlance, or the crown molding, if you're used to hearing that in people using it in home renovations. This is all made out of what's called stucco. And stucco is basically, so you might wonder, stucco and plaster. Stucco and plaster are the same thing for all intents and purposes. Stucco, and both can be used inside and outside, but stucco has a higher content of, well, actually has Portland cement in it to make it more, outdoor resistant, and it makes it a little harder. But they're both basically this. You can use plaster that you see on the inside, which is gypsum and all that, but that's usually reserved for the inside because you can get finer textures of it for the inside. This is, if you look up really closely, you'll see there's a little bit of a texture here. These pieces So you can see kind of, it has a cementatious kind of look, cement kind of look. Also, if you look very carefully, stucco can be tinted. So you'll see different tints. So there's actually up at the top, this part right here is a grayish color, which matches the color of the marble. And then there's this next element up here, which are called dentiles. These are actually tinted, you know, a yellowish kind of off creamy kind of color. I don't know how it shows up how it will show up on the video. But anyway, and then there's another little element here, which is again gray, which looks like the marble. And then up here we have these elements are called eggs. This little thing here is an egg, looks like an egg, surprise. And then a dart, so this is an egg and dart motif. And this element right here looks like a dart. So it's called egg and dart molding. So this egg and dart molding is tinted the same color as this. And then you get back up into the ceiling part, and this is again gray as well. And up in here, these depressed areas are called coffers. And in each of the coffers are panels that are recessed. And then in the middle of each of the coffers are these beautiful rosettes, these floral rosettes. These are also tinted the same, well, I don't know what color. They're basically the same colors, just a little bit darker, but they're not the same color as those. So there's a very slight color variation going on in the stucco. And the stucco, in this instance, it was probably pre-molded and then set in pieces, pre-molded at the factory. We don't know what factory they were ordered from, unfortunately, but there are many factories in the nation that specialized in formed molded stucco. And they were brought here in pieces. And then everything is set onto a substrate, or whatever, the part that holds everything up. It's going to be expanded metal lath that is supported to what's called the structural ceiling above, which is a cast cement base. So this provides for a wonderful, very sturdy, stable surface. It can crack over time, and when we did have the earthquake a few years ago, some cracks did form, but we've also had some cracks that were the result of age. And this is not surprising, considering gravity wants to pull the whole thing down, and so there's no surprise there. We've had some of the cracks repaired. So along these areas here, it's going to be hard to see. There were cracks that were around the edge of the flat part of the ceiling, and those were repaired by a conservator whose specialty is plaster and stucco repair. And so they did that, and they also matched the tonal quality of the new stucco to the old. They actually used real stucco. So whenever we do restore things here in this project, we use the same materials that were used in the original construction. Because if you introduce something that's not the same, you can sometimes introduce more problems structurally, so we don't want to do that. So over the years, as you can all imagine, as I've said before, the ceiling has had developed some non-structural cracks, I should say, but also it's also been repaired. Before this project, the ceiling had been repaired before. So let's go take a look at some of the older repairs. So we've gone to the other side of the ceiling now, and I'm just going to point out some earlier restorations that were actually repairs, where pieces had actually come loose, again because of age or whatever, and then they just needed to be replaced. So over in this area here, you can see from this area, so you can see where there's a crack, and there are cracks that we have determined to leave alone because we don't want anything. If you fill some of these cracks, it might make it worse. So we've actually left these alone, and then from this dentile all the way down to around here, you can see where there's been various repairs. So this particular area right here is where there have been two and a half replacements. This one's replaced, and that one's replaced. And you can see, and then these have been repaired over the years. When these, like I said, these were installed in prefabbed parts. So when they were put up, you can see there's a little seam in between here which are open, and that's actually acceptable. That's how they were installed. And it allows for expansion and contraction of the building. So if you don't, and we see that in some of the stone construction here too, in that if anything's compressing against something else because of gravity or weight, if you don't give it a gap and you leave it actually open, it's actually better for it, because if it compresses down, it will crack and cause a failure, and we just don't want that. So that's why, and architects since ancient times understood all of these little issues that come up in construction. So we've all learned in construction from the people way back when, because they learned from their accidents as we do today. So So anyway, we're going to go see one more ceiling just for fun. So let's go see that. Hello everyone, so we've made it from the porte cochere to this little old porch over here, which is on the opposite side of the building. Again, we're at Memorial Continental Hall. Anyway, why we came under here is, again, the ceiling in here, and this porch is a series of these little coffered ceilings here, which feature a beautiful gigantic rosette, and then again another coffer, and it's all stuccoed. Let me get out my handy and yet so dandy laser pointer. And so again, remember, this is marble here, Vermont, that famous Vermont marble. Oh, these cobwebs don't kill me. And then from here up this is where our stucco line begins, right here. And so from there, all follow me finger all the way up to the rest. This is all stucco again. So anyway, this particular part of the building, we are still actively doing the restoration. So there are guys and gals around doing repointing and repair of the marble and cleaning and all of that stuff. So you may hear an occasional noise or two from them. But anyway, I thought that this would be a great opportunity under this ceiling to talk about why stucco. So there are ceilings, and again, you can go back to ancient times, like as far back as ancient Egypt, for instance. But you can also go into into recent times, where some ceilings in some public buildings that are built out of stone, we'll say marble or even limestone or any other. Actually, why don't I say that? No, I should say that. Yeah. So you probably realize that we're in a different coffer area. We realized that there was a wasp's nest near us, and we were about ready to get attacked. And since bugs love to attack me, we decided to come to the next coffer. So we've signed a taunt with them, so hopefully they'll stay over there. Anyway, so back to ceilings, stucco wise. So some ceilings in public buildings are, and you can observe this in both America and Europe and elsewhere, all over the world, some ceilings in stone public buildings are going to be stone. The same stone usually as what clads the rest of the building, marble or limestone or whatever. Anyway, however, when you do that adds much weight to the structure. So unless you really want to do it, you're beefing it up, then you probably want to do it on opposite. you can consider another alternative, which is stucco. Stucco is used in a lot of these cases because it is lighter, and it's also less expensive at the time than it would have been to carve up the marble and put it in. So this is not only a cost-saving measure, but it's also lightens it up, and so that the structure doesn't have to hold up so much more extra weight than it would have if these had been made out of marble. So hence the reason for the stucco. And in these areas, these small little confined areas here under the porch, these stuccoed panels and all that, these have survived pretty well. And there's very few, there's some age cracks and things, but some very few, anything that will need to be worked on. The thing about these up here is that there's no color variation. It's basically just all gray, and so that's what we get here, as opposed to the front that we just looked at, which has a multiple tonal differences, just to add some interest. So these, for some reason, were seen as just little old coffers. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, with that, I hope that you all enjoyed this quickie tour of stucco ceilings. I feel so tall, I can actually touch the ceiling. Anyway, and please, hopefully we'll be doing more videos like this in the coming months as the restoration unfolds. And so we welcome you back later at a later time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Can you say, be sure to like, subscribe, and share?
Yes. So, here's the fine, I'm sorry. Sorry. So, be sure, no.
Yep, be sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this fabulous video.